We are Five Live. I'm Bobby T.
And I'm
Dude, are you seriously wearing a shirt of the band that you're about to review? You're
yeah.
gonna be
What's
that
the
guy?
what's the problem with that?
Dude, no. Alright, we're back, and, well, you look like a normal person now. So,
I wasn't sure. See, I wasn't sure if the PCU rules applied.
they are
is that-
always are
is
in
that what it is?
application. So,
All right.
just want to start off saying to like, share, and subscribe. We're going to be doing more music and heavy metal videos going
Yeah,
forward.
yeah. I mean, we're both fans of metal, so we wanted to talk about it more because it seems like whenever we're off camera, we're generally
That's pretty much
yeah,
what we're talking about is heavy
about it,
metal. So, yeah, so we are at Five Alive VP on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and Patreon. If you guys want to donate, we're putting a couple of packages together. You can also check us out Saturday night, 9 o'clock, Five Alive Live. That's a hashtag. And hashtag NYCC, I'm sorry, Five Alive NYCC,
yeah.
where we will actually be at Comic-Con this year. If you want to come talk metal with us, have any comments or suggestions of bands we should check out, leave them down in the comments, and we will definitely want to listen to what you got.
Oh yeah, I'm always down for checking out new music. So yeah, let us know what you're listening to.
So now I guess where we want to start is where we started.
Yeah, how we got into, I guess, how we got to be fans of metal.
So now you're newer to metal than I am. So we'll start with you.
Yeah,
And
so-
then, because I kind of have a little bit of roots in what you have, so it's how it all.
Yeah, I'm more of a punk kid. I spent my formative years, 15, 16, 17, 18, listening to a lot of the different genres of punk, whether it was street punk, oi, ska, whatever.
So we actually grew up in a very interesting time. Now Spotify will give you a playlist and
Yes.
everything's fine. Back then, Hot Topic was still relatively new, and they would make these really great CD mixtapes, and it would be the Give 'Em the Boot series,
Yes, exactly.
or Punk
Yep.
Goes Ska, or This Goes That. So you would get all of these different cool bands, and then also at the same time, actually a little later on, you got Victory started doing
Yeah,
that,
the
and you get these
samplers.
sampler discs, and it would be somewhere between $3, $4, $5, and you would
Yeah.
get a 20-song.
Yeah, or
album.
even just going to the shows and trading music with people, or what I like to do.
It's a different time.
Yeah, exactly. What I'd like to do is I would buy the music of the opening bands, because when you're going to a concert, you're there to see the headlining band. For the most part, there's a few times where I've gone to a concert and I've wanted to see the opening band or the mid-card band more. But for the most part, you're there to see the main band, so you're already into them. You already know what they're about. So I would generally buy the music of the opening acts to just kind of get more acquainted with them. So that's what I did. But anyway, so I was more into punk, and around the late 90s, early 2000s, hardcore kind of started to meld with metal, and that's where we kind of got that metalcore genre. That's another thing about me. Any kind of genre that ends in core, I love
Yeah.
it. Hardcore, grindcore.
I like screamo.
Yeah, screamo's good too. Noisecore.
I'm into it. Yeah, same here.
Anything mathcore, any of that stuff. Anything that ends with core, I'm about it. So when hardcore and metal kind of cross, pollinated their genres and kind of came around with that metalcore sound, a la Hatebreed, they were one of the first to kind of popularize that. I was super into it, and that's what kind of got me branching out into the other different forms of metal. And that's the other thing I really like about metal too. The same thing with punk. There's so much. Punk is just an umbrella term for all this music.
Yes, it really is.
And metal is the same way. There's so many different versions, or I guess genres of metal. I mean, you have.
Well, it is funny. You could really line up
Yeah.
the different fans of the different things, and it's completely different people.
Yeah.
When you say grindcore, you go, okay, well, I could see a grindcore dude in my head.
Yep.
Versus a romantic goth versus
or like
a thrash metal versus a Viking metal.
Exactly.
Versus
I like one of my favorite genres of metal, or I guess subgenres, is prog metal.
I love prog rock.
I'm huge into Between the Buried and Me, What's the other one that's really a Mastodon, like those types of bands.
So for that, actually, we'll see, we're gonna skip a little ahead
Yep.
into some of the bands I currently like, which would be Protest the Hero and another band called Tesseract.
Okay.
Tesseract is a lot more. I feel like Protest the Hero is a lot of music geniuses together. This is a bunch of mathematics geniuses put together, and they figured out how to play guitar through addition and subtraction. Somehow it's just perfection.
Sort of like Boston, the band Boston, where they were like audio engineers, like down in Boston or whatever, and they like tweaked everything to make it sound exactly how it was supposed to be.
Rush,
yep.
Using Rush as the perfect example of prog rock. But what I like about some of these bands now is they're working concept albums into prog rock. So I really do love that. So what?
Nope.
Not cutting it. So I'm just gonna have like fire.
We got some cool special effects we can work in there.
That's so I've been like touching my nose the whole time, like don't sneeze, don't sneeze. So Crza, what are you listening to now?
Yeah, so tonight I specifically wanted to talk about baby metal. If you have not been on the interwebs or done the YouTubes in the past 2 to 3 years, you probably know who they are already. But if you don't, go on YouTube and listen to them. I know you've checked out a few songs and are a fan now.
I really am a fan. You made a fan out of me. What I do like about this is that aside from the singers, which are their very own specific thing, because we talk about in some of our other videos that we love the anime opening songs because it's always something kind of like this. This just brings it to a more metal place. The band itself is like a prog rock metal band. Yeah,
exactly. And that's
then you have this Japanese vocals layered over it.
Yep, and that's what I wanted to talk about because if you guys don't know about baby metal, it's actually 3 female vocalists, Su metal, U metal, and Mo metal. And then they have a metal band that they're actually referred to as the Kami band, which is the Japanese word for God. That backs them, and these guys are legitimate metal musicians.
Unbelievably,
they were put together. They were taken from the metal scene basically, and the producer of baby metal put them together, and they formed this really awesome band. So the music is there, the technical ability is there as well. But these 3 girls, they were actually part of a pop group in Japan called Sakura Gakuin, which is sort of like a schoolgirl, like a high school.
Yeah, the Sakura, that's what that is.
Yeah. And they had to sing pop songs, and they learned choreography. They also had to do like school projects and stuff like that. And they even had concerts that they had to do as well. So the girls come from this kind of pop background. And then the producer of the band that kind of formed baby metal took them from that school group and formed baby metal.
So now here's what's funny. The kind of metal that I like has a lot of growling, and it comes from usually they'll segue with it.
Yeah.
So they'll segue from a chugging type of mosh pit kind of bass, dun 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 dun, to moving into something a little faster. And the way they transition with that is they use like a low growl that then turns into the next phase of singing. As I'm listening to baby metal in my car, I hear that in my head because the music that these guys are writing lends itself to that. So this actually, I said this to my wife a while back. If you have 2 people singing and one is screaming and the other one is singing, you've got a song that I want to hear.
Yeah.
So when I hear baby metal and I hear that growl or some kind of shrill, and actually one of the songs, I believe it may have been Karate, has a shrill scream in it.
Yeah.
And it's so perfectly placed and timed, and then they come in singing the way they're going to sing. And you do, I guess maybe I'm hearing it in my head, but it's that kind of music that it's invoking the creativity in my brain to fill in the spots that maybe they didn't.
I mean, these girls have, they're incredibly talented as well. I mean, their vocal range and what they're singing and stuff like that is amazing too. So you have a very talented metal band with very talented vocalists. And
I'm sorry, I just had a thought. No, I gotta get this out. I think some of the root for why I may like this is because of how much I like System of a Down. This sounds very much in the vein where Serge would do those crazy...
Yeah, like the alternating between the low and the high and the octaves.
Just being all over the place. And, he was singing in English, and he wasn't a small Japanese girl, so obviously this is going to sound different.
Exactly.
But they're doing the same thing.
Which is funny, because I kind of... I guess the band that I would relate to baby metal is Dragon Force. That's what I think it is, because they have those epic guitar riffs, absolutely. And it's like they're going up and down the neck, they're doing the high notes and everything like that. I mean, it's the solos in some of these songs are amazing, and that's why I like the Metal Resistance album, which is their second one, better than the first. I think when they released the first album, which was called, I think it was just called Baby Metal.
It's the black album with the red.
Yes, with the red logo. Yeah, the Metal Resistance is black with gold. I don't think the producers or the creator of Baby Metal knew what he had at that point, so he kind of played it safe. And even though there was metal music, I think the themes, and the lyrics, and the sound overall leaned more towards pop.
Okay.
But then when the metal community accepted baby metal, they were like, dude, they were like, these guys are awesome. They're playing these festivals out in Britain. They're doing stadium shows in Japan, and everybody loved them. And I mean, you've got Rob Zombie being like, dude, these guys are metal as shit. You got nuts, man. You got the dude from Judas Priest, Rob Halford loves him. Yeah, exactly. So I think at that point they were like, okay, we have to do more. We got to be a little bit more metal with some pop sprinkled in. Whereas the other album, it was more pop with a little bit of metal sprinkled in. That's interesting. You kind of bring that up, because the "Give Me Chocolate" song, while it is one of the better songs on that first album, it does get to a point where they do kind of pop out a little bit. Whereas then you get to the song "Karate," and it's on the second album, and it's way harder all the way through. And like I was saying, there's that shrill scream spots where in my head I'm hearing things, and not quite as much on that first album. Yeah. So, well, I mean, you can see I made a little note here of the album list. There's 12 songs on Metal Resistance, but this is the first one, Road to Resistance. I wrote more metal, Karate, metal. Awadava Fever, which is number 3. That's a metal pop mix. The fourth song, Yava, which is metal pop. So, like, these are all, you can see where it's like metal, metal, metal with a little bit of pop thrown in there, which I thought was awesome. Like I said, I think when the metal community was like, baby metal, then they were like, okay, we need to kind of tweak this and everything. And even in the song number 8 there, GJ, that's another rap metal mix, just like they had on the first album. So I think this album is stronger as a whole than their first one, and I'm really excited to see where they're going from here, because this album, Metal Resistance, their last song, the one, she does sing it in English, so they're learning English, and I think they're going to be doing more songs in English to kind of capture a broader audience. And in some of their live shows, U Metal and Mo Metal are playing guitars. So I think they're also going to be learning their learning
craft a little more.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
Right.
So I'm excited to see where they're going. I hope they come to America again, because I'd really like to see them live.
We're going to go to a baby metal show if they come.
I missed the chance the first time
we'll make this promise to our 5 Live family right now.
Yeah.
We will go to a baby metal show if it comes within 300 miles.
Yeah, there you go.
I think we can deal. That's a 5-hour drive, 4 or 5 hour drive.
That's not too bad. We
drove to New Jersey. We're going to New York. Like, we can do 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Philadelphia, basically New York, Boston.
Yeah.
Really down to almost Delaware, truthfully. Like, we have a pretty good range here. So, so for me, metal was very interesting, because for me, my parents were really into, well, my mother's more into R&B. My father likes classic rock. So ZZ Top, and my dad really likes Leonard Skinner and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He loves it. So, meanwhile, like I said, my mom likes Michael Jackson, Barbra Streisand, the stuff of the 80s. 70s
so,
and 80s.
Olivia Newton-John?
No, luckily no. Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah, okay.
My father likes a band called Maze. Is like one of his favorites. It's like a funk band.
Yeah. Okay.
Very similar to like a funk R&B band, just like an Earth, Wind and Fire.
Okay.
They like Santana and stuff like that. So I think that the bass was always there for me, but I think Aerosmith sucks. So my issue is, oh, Joe Perry can shred a guitar. Yeah, but what he's doing sucks. And this is me as a kid, 8 and 9 years old, going, I don't want to hear this. So I would always go to my Aunt Susan's house, and she had 2 kids, a girl younger and a boy older. The boy, his name is Jeff, my cousin Jeff. He's a few years older than I was.
So he
kind of
your
started
musical education. Okay,
that's where it kind of started, because he would be at work doing whatever, and I'd have to go sit at my Aunt Susan's house. She'd go, oh, go sit up in Jeff's room and watch TV. And I'd go up there, and he'd have, like, horror movies. And it was like your classic 80s metal kid's bedroom, you know? He's, like, 17 or 18 years old, and I'm roughly in that 9, 10 years old area. Should not have seen half the things I saw. But you know what? It was fun. I didn't come out too messed up.
Yeah, you're okay.
That said, he was into Maiden big time. Lita Ford.
Especially in the 80s, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maiden. He was into Maiden, Lita Ford, Metallica, Dio, stuff like that. A lot of more guitar, and he was a drummer. So he loved just anything with drums, heavy drums. So I remember when Metallica's And Justice for All had come out. And he had a tape player next to his drum set, and he would just play it over and over again, and just wail the shit out of the drums. I mean, this dude he's insane. I love this guy. But he, I think, is where my metal obsession started. Now, the issue is that I couldn't go home and listen to Number of the Beast. I couldn't go home and listen to Holy Diver.
I don't know. Maybe your parents would have rocked out with you.
No, not at all. Not at all. My father, there was a movie in the 80s called The Gate. And The Gate was all about a kid who used the devil incantation to open a gate into hell, and all these demons come through and he has to fight it. And my father flat out said, it's that fucking heavy metal. And now, the worst thing you can do when I'm learning this with my own child, don't go against something too hard, because I guarantee that's the thing they're going to love. Say metal is evil, and watch how fast I go to metal. And that's exactly what happened. But I had to keep it kind of low. So Jeff would make me random mixtapes, and I'd listen to those, but written on the mixtape would be like Vanilla Ice. Or something else that wasn't, something that was okay in my parents' eyes. But really what was on that tape was whatever insane metal that he was willing to give me at that moment. Sometimes it was Anthrax. At one point, it started to veer, and it was because of the early 90s. That was an interesting time for me, though, because... So I was born in 1980. My formative years would be those 13, 14, 15 years. I went from a Catholic school in New Britain, Connecticut, where things were very... kids were more into hip hop and rap at this time. Not as, and metal was on its way out, and grunge hadn't quite come in as strong. The Red Hot Chili Peppers were like the thing that kind of bridged it. And I love the Chili Peppers, but they're the thing that really bridged, for me, one era to the next.
I can see that.
When I got to that next era, it was about 93, and I moved to Plainville, Connecticut. That's when I met one of my best friends, and he was a metalhead. And his dad played guitar for a group, and this dude could shred. He actually gave me one of the most important lessons of my life, and it's never blame your tools. An artist never blames his tools. I said, I'm not that good on my guitar. My guitar kind of sucks. And he picked up my guitar and made it look like the most expensive guitar in the world. And then he handed it back to me and said, it's not your guitar.
He was like, you suck.
Hey, look, it became the building blocks for everything I believe in, really. Don't blame your tools. So when I moved there, the Pumpkins were starting to get big. So that phase was really kind of starting with Stone Temple Pilots, Rage Against the Machine, which we've talked about. I said, how did I get the way I am? Oh, wait a minute. My favorite song said, fuck you, I won't do what you told me.
It's funny, you bring up your parents, and it's like, oh, it's that damn heavy metal, and metal is evil. Dude, my mom was the complete opposite. Like, if I said to her, I want to listen to this, or even if she came home and I had the Dead Kennedys playing in the CD player or in my tape deck, she didn't care. She'd be like, "Oh, what's that song that you were listening to the other day? You know, about California?" I'd be like, "Oh yeah, California Uber All." She's like, "Oh, I like that song." Like it was crap like that. Like she never ever limited like what I could listen to. I remember the day I came home from high school and I told her I wanted to be a communist, and she said, "That's fine.
That makes sense.
If you want to." She looked at me and she goes, because I said, "Mom, can I be a communist?" She goes, "Yeah, you can do whatever you want." And then I remember when my grandmother got upset and when we were talking about that, and she goes to my mother, "Do you know your son's a communist?" And I goes, "Yeah." Like that's it.
That's great. No,
she never ever once, like I said, stifled anything I wanted to think or do or listen to. So thanks, Mom, for that, because I didn't have to sneak around and put other labels on tapes. I got to listen to what I wanted. So
my tape player had metal, and my closet was full of toys.
Yeah, no.
On the outside, I was playing baseball and basketball and chasing girls, and then when no one was watching, I was playing with toys and listening to heavy metal tapes. But when I got to Plainville, that all changed, and it was because of finding a friend who enjoyed listen to rap.
A kindred spirit.
It was kismet. You find the person. So he actually, the funny part was he liked Funk Dubious, Ice Cube.
Nice.
So we liked the Wu-Tang Clan. We listened to these things, but at the same time we'd go, "Oh hey, check out Rage Against the Machine. Let's check out Pantera. Let's listen to, like you're saying, the Pumpkins and all those things." So we were really into that phase of music. Always like pop and stuff like that, but my heart lied in metal. At that 2000 area, that's when everything really changed.
Metal it kind of exploded onto the scene. You had a lot of that screamo stuff, the metalcore that we were talking about earlier. Every Time I Die was huge. I love them. So Atreyu.
I was just gonna say. So for me, it was Atreyu. And speaking of opening bands, I went to go see Atreyu play with, I believe it was the Get Up Kids and somebody else.
Oh wow!
It was a crazy show.
Yeah, Get Up Kids are awesome too.
We went to go see it down south, and we see Atreyu, and Josh actually bought the shirt, the Halloween shirt, where it was the pumpkins and the slashing.
Nice, yeah.
I got the one with the cross switchblades.
Okay, yep.
Just they made some of the coolest shirts. I really love this band, but we saw them in a very small venue as the opener. So, like you're saying, buying the thing, and I actually heard of them from one of those Victory samplers. I had bought a whatever album from some other band, got a demo version of Someone Standing on My Chest.
Nice.
And from then, I'm like, I love these guys. They are doing what I want to hear. It's there was also another band called Slaves on Dope around that time. They were from the Northeast.
Okay.
Those guys were another very much like they would break into yelling and screaming and growling and whatnot. And I think that love also comes from Pantera and Slayer and all the stuff that I love from back then. But at the drive-in, the Get Up Kids saves the day. Saves the Day, I will say, is one of the most metal bands. And the reason being, and I brought this up to my sister recently, you have to listen to the words sometimes. Just because they're bopping doesn't mean they're not talking about crucifying you, drinking the blood, letting you die, displaying your organs, and you go, wait a minute, I was bopping to this song. This is morbid.
That's one of the reasons why I love ska, because the music is so upbeat, but the lyrics can be so depressing. And
it's a lot about lost love, man. There's a lot of hurt feelings in ska, and it's hidden behind horns. Horns and skanking.
I saw Atreyu at the Rockstar Taste of Chaos tour that came through Hartford.
Excellent.
This has got to be like 7-8 years ago. But it was Atreyu. The Deftones were there. As They Lay Dying.
Another
Funeral.
Deftones, a very important band coming in that mid to late 90s era,
that kind of
continuing over.
Yep, that kind of cross genre. They had the DJ turntable guy, but they were also metal. And but they had a lead singer that could do the clean singing, but he could also do the yelling.
Which goes to also other bands that would have kind of would influence my metal love would have been A Perfect Circle, Nine Inch Nails, and Tool, which all are kind of in that same pool of people. So I love Coheed and Cambria.
Okay.
We're going to talk about a little bit of prog metal here for a second. concept albums, I love them.
Yes.
I can read chapters in a book, and I can listen to the music, and it matches. I love Coheed because I had said, you give me screaming and you give me singing together, you've got me. They do great. They drop out the beat all the time. They drop out...
it's all about tempo changes and all that stuff.
It's unbelievable, man. And sometimes it turns into a science project. Like, you're hearing things and you go, well, if I pay attention to the left on this side and this noise on that side, you get a completely different song.
Yeah, that stuff is really for the audiophile, definitely.
Oh, yeah. There's sometimes when I listen to Coheed, I usually want to listen to it with, like, good big headphones on in a quiet room, like, and you hear all these crazy things going on. But that transitioned me into where I am now. Okay. And I think
Skeleton Wings.
I think right now I am experiencing the this is the sum of all of the aggregate of my parts is right now where I'm at, and I was introduced by Josh and another friend to these two bands. He said, we have to go to this show. Yep. You're gonna love the main band. Okay. And I said, okay, we're going. We went up to Boston. We slept 6 dudes in a room.
Nice.
We went to go see Amon Amarth play at the House of Blues in Boston. Now, Amon Amarth, for those who don't know, are a Viking metal band.
Yeah, I haven't heard them. Only the few songs that you played for me. So yeah.
What I love about them is they tell a story, and much like Iron Maiden, the story is the song. So they come over the hill. We fought them back. It was a battle for this, that, the other thing. But they're talking about Thor versus Surtur, Odin versus Loki, the Army of the Dead versus the Frost Giant. It's all about Norse mythology. It's all Vikings. So when they are in Viking countries, Norse countries, they have a giant U-boat or the Viking longboat that shoots flames, and they're playing the giant drums. And I mean, this is insane. They're playing for 100,000 people. They come here, House of Blues.
Well, this
is what happens.
It's the same thing with baby metal. You know, they're playing in Europe. They're playing in Japan. They're basically selling out coliseums and playing metal festivals, and here they're again the same thing playing that.
So
who knows? They could get bigger.
So we went into Amon Amarth, and I had watched all the videos. I listened to all the albums, so I was fired up for it. What I didn't expect was to find my favorite band. Possibly, like, I'm putting these guys in the top 5. The original lineup of Skeleton Witch. Going back to, you buy the opening band stuff. Yes. I have bought everything. So we got there, and Serpents Unleashed was the album that they were talking about. Okay. I have bought this album 3 times on vinyl. Wow. There's a picture vinyl. There's regular vinyl. I have a signed vinyl. They are admitted Satan worshipers. Just straight out, they are as brutal as it gets. It sounds like a demon is cackling into the microphone.
Your dad would not like this.
No, absolutely not. So the original singer's name is Chance Garnett, and this man looked like he was poured from the depths of hell itself. He had long black hair, a beard to match. He would wear the gauntlets up to the elbows with these monstrous spikes. He actually does have I think what's an Etsy store with his girlfriend or wife. I don't quite know that relationship, but they make gauntlets. So you can get spiked out gauntlets and all the different things. I really want a set. So BobbyT, if you're watching, my birthday's coming up, 10-inch black, I'm just saying too. So when we see this guy up on the stage, he poses. There's no other way, and he does it for you. So I have a few pictures. I'm going to have to search them out and maybe put them on our website or our Facebook. He would go into full brutal mode and do like the I'm crushing your face. But he would look throughout the crowd to see who was holding up a camera, and he would pose for you for a moment.
Wow, that's pretty
nice. And the lights are going and everything. And then at the end of the show, they'd want you to, hey, submit them, because these are some cool pictures. So we saw them at the Webster, we saw them at the House of Blues. I walk out of there a new man. Like, I walked out with, I've never heard anything like this. And another thing about them, they love old music. You can tell the bass lines are very much rooted in 1970s hard rock, and more specifically Thin Lizzy. I had played a song for you earlier called Emerald. Emerald is the root for what became Iron Maiden, I believe. Iron Maiden, Amon Amarth, these kinds of bands
Like
write
epic,
a song like
yeah,
this.
epic
It's
songs.
epic. It chugs. There's lyrics. There's beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's all cohesive. And you never really go back. You only move forward. And Emerald was that kind of thing. Now you pour it onto Skeleton Witch, and they're now adding grime thrashcore with brutal lyrics, and it's this crazy amalgamation that makes these 2.5 minute songs that make you your head wants to melt. I fall asleep to it.
Hey,
we all have our things.
Exactly.
Another bands I just wanted to mention too, like Rush. We all love Rush. But Tesseract and Protest the Hero are the other two.
I've seen Protest the Hero too. They came. There was a metal fest in Hartford again, maybe like 6-7 years ago.
Back.
Yeah,
I remember. I missed this.
I went and saw them because Napalm Death was there. Talk about
Yes.
another old metal band that you guys need to check out. They were one of the first. I would think like the speed metal.
Yeah.
They had a lot of their songs
Hair
were,
whipping.
Yeah.
Just full.
I mean, a lot of their songs are 2 minutes long. Nothing. It's not like Maiden where they're these epic 5, 6, 7 minute.
Yeah, that's not it.
Yeah, but Napalm Death is also very, very good. It's funny how much metal has come out of the Great Britain. Sort of like punk too. There's a lot of those great UK bands, and same thing with metal. Iron Maiden's from the UK. Napalm Death is also from the UK. Funeral for a Friend, which is they took their name from an Atreyu song, so they also have that kind of
Judas Priest.
Yep.
Then also, from Ireland, but then Lizzie. That's where this came from.
Yeah. So.
Again, I can't do anything but suggest Thin Lizzy to anyone who's willing to listen for more than 2 minutes. They even, going back to the most inspirational bands out there, Metallica lists Thin Lizzy as a heavy influence on what they became.
Yeah.
So
and this we're gonna talk more metal. So there's a lot more bands. Yeah, exactly.
We haven't even scratched the surface.
This is just kind of what we're into, and I guess our recommendations of what you should check out, and you guys leaving comments about what we should check out. But we're gonna talk about more bands. Get deeper into the metal community, and we're gonna talk about some more stuff. So this is just the tip of the iceberg for our metal fandom here.
So with that, we have been Five Alive, and I am Bobby T.
And I'm Crza.
So do not forget to like, share, and subscribe at
Donut.
So that is at 5AliveVP on Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon if you want to give us money to do the thing that we do here. We also are going to be live.
And we will give you stuff for giving us money to do the stuff that we're doing now.
So we'll be doing T-shirts, maybe posters, stickers, whatever we could really get our hands on. Also, so every Saturday night, 9 o'clock, we do 5 Live. This year, we will be at the New York Comic Con. So, hashtag 5AliveNYCC. We will be hopefully talking to Vertebrae 33, who is one of my favorite artists. And when you want to talk about metal, this guy makes metal shirts of pop culture stuff.
Nice.
So this year, he has a few really awesome ones. The Turn It Up to 11 Demogorgon.
Nice.
With 11. Also the new, and I don't know the name of it, for the Star Trek Episode 8. I'm on a freeze, but those little penguin things.
Okay, yeah.
As King Diamond, with a full pentagram in the chest.
Oh, nice.
And my favorite of the year, which I have to pick up, it is a Slayer themed shirt. It says Sarlacc. It has the Sarlacc pit with the pentagram of lightsabers.
Dude, I can't wait to see them.
It's going to be awesome. So join us at NYCC and tell us what you guys like.